Amanda Tami is a licensed professional counselor and board certified behavior analyst at the Johnson Center for Child Health and Development. She provides behavior analytic services and psychotherapy to neurodivergent individuals and their families. She has experience treating co-occurring conditions such as anxiety, depression, and trauma. Amanda is certified in EMDR therapy and its applications to children. Amanda has provided training and consultation locally, nationally, and internationally to parents and providers on various topics, including building emotional regulation, support across the lifespan, sexuality, and trauma-informed ABA. Amanda lives in Austin with her husband and sons and loves cats, crosswords, and below deck marathons. Thank you so much for being here today, Amanda. And I will give you the floor.
Thank you so much, Megan. Thank you, everyone, for being here. The holidays are filled with chaos and piles of to-dos and your boundaries being run over again and again and again. And these are amplified by the social and sensory and routine and regulation needs of autism. So you're about to hear some ideas about how to manage your sanity and your life at this chaotic time of year. As Megan said, I'm Amanda Tami. I'm a behavior analyst and licensed professional counselor in Austin. And much of my work is with neurodivergent folks and their caregivers who are struggling with their mental health conditions and barriers to quality of life. I have to mention that this webinar is for informational purposes only. I'm not able to provide advice or respond to individual case-specific questions during this webinar or through email. Consult your healthcare provider or contact the Johnson Center to schedule an appointment for any case-specific questions. Now, you may listen to this webinar and these ideas that I'm sharing and think, this isn't going to work for me. I can't incorporate this into my life. This is too much. This isn't going to help. And that's okay. Start very small. Pick one or two things from this webinar to try and then see if you can build on them next year or over time or at other chaotic times in your life. I have to mention that ARI has a holiday season planning planning information on their website. The QR code here on your screen will take you to that page. It includes some social stories, travel tips, and recipes for autism-friendly ways to manage the holidays. So let's do this. Let's get into the holiday spirit. Now, 63% of Americans report experiencing higher stress during the holiday season. Many even reported higher stress than at tax time. Why? Financial pressure of the holiday season, navigating family and interpersonal dynamics, upholding your personal health habits, who is following a healthy routine and exercising regularly and managing their diet at this time of year. Not many people. If you are, good on you. Please put some of your strategies in the chat. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. But if you do have ideas to share with the rest of the audience, please do so. 71% of those surveyed in these studies said that their biggest regret during the holiday season is that they did not make time to unwind and have fun. Now, outside of holiday stress, when it comes to families of autistic children, over 94% of parents report significant stress levels and feeling stress beyond their limitations on a daily basis. Add in the holidays, and the holiday season can be very stressful for kids with autism and their families because of situations like big crowds, strange places, bright lights, schedule changes. Families of those on the autism spectrum experience heightened anxiety and sensory overload around the holidays. And the new food, sparkling lights, changed routines, formal dress clothes, and interacting with loved ones who might not completely understand autism add additional stress. So let's talk about some of these challenges that go with holiday season. This right? The elf on the shelf, that is the challenge. That's you're lying in bed, it's midnight, and you go, I didn't move the elf. I kid, but the elf is not always so much fun for parents at least. All right, first, let's think about disappointment. The holiday season can be so magical and wonderful and full of love and joy and excitement. And it can also be a time of disappointment. Your kids, your extended family, your spouse, you are maybe feeling disappointed with how things have gone this holiday season, or disappointed with the way your family is handling things or acting, disappointed with what you were or were not able to do. Sometimes it's not the holiday that we expected. We see these magical stories of the holidays and building wonderful holiday memories on movies and social media, the Hallmark Channel, and that is often not reality. Now, while you probably know this in your mind, it still feels bad when our reality does not live up to that hope. And as kids get older, Christmas usually becomes less fun and exciting. Maybe they and you think back to earlier Christmases in their lives and have some sadness because that's not how it feels anymore. And December and into January, it is just such a slog sometimes. A long winter break, 2 weeks or more, where there is limited formal structure to the day. Not a lot of things that have to be done at a certain time. Becomes a really unpredictable time of year, and so much chaos and overstimulation. It is hard. It is hard to keep a routine and to do the things that you know you need to keep your sanity and stay healthy and stay um, well regulated. It's a tough time of year. And as I mentioned from those statistics a few minutes ago, and I'm sure it's no surprise as I'm saying this, the sensory overload of the season is to the max. Light, sounds, uncomfortable clothing, new foods, new everything, all these changes, no school. Sensory overload is a problem at this time of year. And for anyone, when they're in this uh, mental state of overload, whether it's sensory or emotional or just too much on our plates, if we're not taking care of ourselves, it gets to the point where it's overwhelming. And then we can't function and we can't do the things that we need to do. Family obligations, complicated family relationships, oh, they are on full display at these holiday events. I always say when I say I'm going to visit my family, and the response is, oh, that'll be nice. And I say, well, we will see. You never know if it's going to be a great visit or if it's going to be full of drama and um, boundary violations and, everything that comes with the family dynamics. Holidays can also bring up a lot of sadness, grief, memories of people we've lost, times gone by in our lives, and maybe the grief that you may still be processing for your child. Grief is a normal part of accepting an autism diagnosis for your child or even for yourself, other loved ones. And sometimes big life events or big holidays amplify that grief. Now, the social demands of this time of year can be really challenging for anyone. There's some people feel performance anxiety or anxiety about giving or receiving gifts. There are social nuances to giving and receiving gifts that make it a challenge. The expectations around gift giving and gift receiving can be really confusing. They're not exactly practical sometimes. They don't make a lot of sense. So that can be a source of anxiety for many people. We've got those awkward family interactions, the crowds. We can't avoid going out in public for an entire month. You know, if you're doing much Christmas shopping and have to go to a store, that can be a nightmare. If you're going to those Christmas holiday events, maybe there's tree lighting events or Christmas caroling events or Christmas light shows. And if you're going to go to any of that, chances are there's going to be a big crowd. And oh, my favorite, the awkward office holiday party. Might be a great time, might not be a great time. Get to see people's behavior in a strange context outside of work. Just an interesting hour and a half, 2 hours of your life sometimes. Along with that disappointment that I had mentioned earlier, there's FOMO, the Instagram pictures that you see all the time, the Santa pics, the cookies with Santa, attending all of those holiday to-do gatherings in the community, getting that perfect Christmas morning picture, making Christmas magical for the kids, for gift giving, giving good gifts that people are going to want. The pressure that we sometimes feel and the FOMO that we feel when it comes to what we want for the holidays and what we see other people doing for the holidays. And then I don't think I even need to mention the money, the holiday travel, the never-ending to-do list and gift list. It's just a time of massive chaos, pressure, and a never-ending list of things to do. Please excuse me. I've got this little tickle in my throat today that I can't seem to shake. But my friends, January is coming. There is an end. There is hope for us all. We will survive this. So I'm going to talk about some strategies for dealing with this time of year, and I have very loosely categorized them as general strategies for parents and strategies for neurodivergent folks themselves. But please use whatever of these works for you. These distinctions really are arbitrary. So just some general things to keep in mind. First, you may remember that I said earlier, 71% of people said their biggest regret was not taking time to unwind and enjoy the holidays with their families. So be intentional, notice and be present in those moments of joy, even if they seem very small and few and far between, hard to find them, especially if it's hard to find them. Try to be intentional about experiencing the joy when it is present, because that is what you'll regret if you don't take the time to do that. Moments of gratitude. What can you be thankful for at this particular time of year, in your life in general, at this moment in time? Where can you find something to be grateful for? And just allow yourself to be present in that. In 10 years, you will wish that you had been. Set boundaries. What can you say no to? Choose the events that matter the most. And I know that that's easier said than done. And there may be some things that you cannot say no to, some things that you have to go to, even though it doesn't sound like a great time. Your in-laws' Christmas party, or the holiday Christmas party, or the office holiday party, or the thing that your kids really, really, really want to go to, even though you know it's going to be kind of a disaster and they're going to hate it when they get there. What are the things that you can say no to, and what are the things that you cannot? What are the things that you want to say no to, and what are the things that you really want to do? Now, when we've got those things that you cannot say no to, keep that in mind and plan in advance for that. Because if you have to go to this one event that's going to be really tough, you need to be able to take care of yourself so that you can manage that well. And that may mean you have to say no to other things that maybe you would rather do than go to the office holiday Christmas party. But since that's not negotiable, maybe you have to say no to some other things. So you don't have to say yes to everything. And in fact, you should not say yes to everything. It's not only about decreasing your commitments and obligations, it's about prioritizing what matters the most to you, what's most meaningful to you and your family. When it comes to the disappointment, we have that expectation versus reality. So be realistic about expectations and start setting those expectations early for yourself, for your family. And realistically, what can you do? What can your kids handle? What do you want to do? And what if things don't go as planned? Um, Everyone does better when they have an idea of what to expect. Predictability is key, and we can be prepared when we set realistic expectations, but it's also okay when things don't go as planned. What about the expectations that are put on you by other people? Think about this in advance. How are you going to respond when you know that every year um, your kids want a really big gift that you know you can't afford? How do you plan for that in advance? And how do you respond when they say, I really want this, or you didn't get me this? What's going to be your response? Um, what obligations, what are the expectations put on you by others that you're going to take on? And what are you going to put boundaries around? Plan in advance. And especially when it comes to kids, um, have reasonable expectations, realistic expectations about their behavior, about what they can handle. There's going to be overstimulation. There's going to be, extra conflict or maybe even extra meltdowns when there's little structure and so much going on. Um, so when we're thinking about a really chaotic time of year like this, lower the bar, decrease the demands that you're putting out there, decrease or lower what is needed to access reinforcement for yourself and for everyone who you're responsible for. Lower the bar and then raise it as you are able to do so. You may be familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs if you've taken basic Psych 101 classes. The hierarchy of needs says that our most basic needs need to be met before we can reach these higher level needs like connection, love and belonging, establishing friendships, feeling good about ourselves and knowing what our strengths are, being able to think well of ourselves and see ourselves as um, a, a respectable professional, parent, just person. We can find that those positive beliefs about ourselves only after more basic needs are met. And then the highest part of the pyramid is self-actualization, becoming the best that we can be. So at this time of year, when there's a lot going on, remember that meltdowns and overwhelm and burnout happens at those lower levels of the pyramid. So prioritize your sleep. Easier said than done, I know, but think about it now. How can you make that happen? How can you prioritize sleep? How can you make sure that you're getting enough water during the day, incorporating extra protein or other healthy foods to offset the mountains of sugar that are available nonstop at this time of year. Um, Maybe you kind of limit your access to the news more right now when there's already so much going on. Seeing all of the hurt and problems and things that are out of our control on the news, it does have an effect on us. It does have an effect on our own safety, on our anxiety. So maybe you limit your access to that sort of thing, but prioritize these lower level needs to reduce overwhelm, to reduce meltdowns, to reduce the burnout that happens with this time of year. And always, but especially now. Um, you yourself or the your loved ones who you're caring for may have really limited diets. They may have a limit on what they can eat. They may have just a restricted diet or a limited number of foods that they're willing to eat, able to eat. So plan ahead for this as well. This is not a time to work on food exposure, enforcing social eating expectations. There's enough going on right now for you and for your kids. If it's possible, and if you have family members or other places where you're going that is not going to have foods that are friendly or acceptable to your child, bring your own. Bring your own food for them. Um, Sometimes our kids' diets are pretty complicated, and someone who's not making food for your child every day may not be able to meet the requirements of their diet. So do bring your own food. If someone's going to take offense to that, let them know in advance, hey, this is just what we have to do. Um, make it about yourselves. I don't want you to have to worry about um, preparing food for my kid. I know it's going to be different than what you're making for everybody else. So allow me to take that off your plate, and I'm going to bring our own food for him. Or if it's for you, I know that I don't want you to have to think about what I'm able to eat. So I'm going to bring my own food. It's not, a reflection of you or what you'll be serving. I just need to eat something else, and I don't want you to be responsible for that. And as much as possible, stick to a routine. It can be very loose. It doesn't have to be strict. It doesn't have to be your same routine that you would keep if you were going on if it were a regular work week, or if your kids were in school, but come up with some sort of routine and make sure that you're incorporating those basics. Um, Enough sleep, some time for yourself. What do you enjoy? Getting out and doing some sort of movement. It may not be a full workout that you would do at any other time of year, but how can you make sure that you're getting some sort of movement in? Just these really basic things that we forget about so easily, but are so important just to keep us regulated. Protect yourself from illness as much as possible. The holidays already leave us really run down. We don't need more. So spread the holiday cheer, not the flu. Okay, now let's talk about some things for parents. As I said earlier, all of this is really arbitrary. Don't think too much about how I've categorized these. If there's something that sounds good for whomever you are, please do use it. Don't get stuck on these categories. They're arbitrary. Again, going back to disappointment, prepare your kids for possible disappointment. It's maybe very embarrassing if the grandparent gives your child a gift and your kid goes, I didn't want that. This isn't what I wanted. That, may leave the grandparent feeling bad, but also leave you feeling embarrassed about it. So if you can, Prepare your child for disappointment in advance. Sometimes things don't go the way we plan, the way we hope. What would it be like if blank? Just get them thinking about it beforehand. If we're not talking about the possibilities, then the possibilities don't exist until there it is and we're faced with it. So if we can help to prepare in advance, just what do you think you would feel if you didn't get this present that you really want? What do you think you would feel if your brother got a cooler toy, what you thought was better than what you got? What would it be like if this happened? And teach them the language to use if they're disappointed by others. Grandparents didn't get me the gift I wanted. Okay, what should be your response? If someone gives you a gift and you don't want it, you can say, thank you. And then you can tell me later that you didn't like it. So teach them the language to use in these cases before it happens. So practice in advance. Sometimes we don't get what I'm hoping for. That's okay. Use visuals as much as you can. Have a calendar of events, social stories, first then cards, holiday event routines and expectations. Show pictures of family members and places before before your child sees them. If we have some idea of what to expect, we can prepare for it. So let's make a plan about what to expect, how things are going to go, what day something is, how can I have some sort of a countdown to that day. If you're anything like me, it gets a little bit frustrating when you answer the same question. Uh, when are we leaving on our Christmas trip? And it's every day, sometimes twice a day. So if there can be some sort of a visual or reminder without you having to be the one giving that reminder. This is when we're going to go. This is what you can expect. These are the people we're going to see there. And whenever you can, make a plan together. What do you want it to be like? What's most important to you? How do you think we should do this? What way do you want to take to get there? Whatever you can do to incorporate your kids into the planning is great. Put structure into those couple of weeks of no school. And those 2 weeks or more of no school can drag on. And by the end, I'm often going, when, how many more days? How many more days? And I might have my own calendar to count down the days to back to school. But it is often really helpful to plan for some structure, some routine. Here's what we're going to do. Today we have this activity planned, and so here's what we're going to do before we get there, and here's what we're going to do after we get there. Maybe there's no activity planned that day. There's a good chance that we'll just be spending all our time on screens. And if that works for you, great. If too much screen time causes more dysregulation, when is the right time for screen time? What do we do in between? What are some other ways that I can get my kids set up to play independently? What are some things that we can do together? I think I know there's a lot of differing ideas about screen time and how much is okay. And I think there is absolutely a use for screen time. So think about when it's most useful to you. Are you working over those couple of weeks of school's winter break? Maybe screen time helps you get your kids through the day while you have to work. So use screen time as you see fit. Communicate your needs and expectations to family and friends ahead of time. Don't get to the holiday party and go, um, we really need to have this other kind of food. we didn't bring it, or we're going to bring our own food because this is what so-and-so needs to be able to eat at the party. We're going to be bringing it with us. Don't worry about it. Don't show up and go, oh, we brought our own food. Let your family know about your kids' behaviors, what they might see, how to deal with it, how to respond. Let them know that maybe they're going to wear headphones the whole time. And it's not, something to take offense to. It's their need. This is what my child needs, is to be able to wear their headphones. Maybe there is no way your kid is going to sit at the dinner table with everybody else. That's okay. Make a plan for that and just let everybody know in advance. This is what we're going to do. How do we make this work? He's not going to want to sit with us. Can we find another place where it's okay to have food? Allow use of all those tools like the iPad when it's needed, headphones, sensory materials. Bring them with you if you're going out to holiday events. Have them accessible. These are not just, cool toys to our kids. These are needs. And it's okay to allow them, not to allow them, but to make sure that their needs are met. And again, this is the kind of thing that if you can set the expectations in advance with family members or friends, my child will have my child will have their iPad with them. They need this to get through this event. You need to be okay with that. Sensory tools are needs for our children. Have a code word or signal for your kids to let you know, hey, it's time to go. I'm overstimulated. I'm having really high anxiety. Whatever the needs are. It means this is too much. I need to go. Have some sort of a code word or other signal that they can use to let you know it's time. Tugging on my hair softly. That means it's time to go. Making a little X and rubbing my shoulders. That's time to go. A code word. Falcon. The code word is Falcon. If your kid says Falcon, oh, okay, we gotta start saying our goodbyes and getting ourselves out. And take time for yourself. Take a break or you will break. Plan for them in advance. If you expect to take them on the fly, you're starting to get overwhelmed, go, okay, I need a break. You're probably not going to take the break. You're going to keep pushing yourself. So plan for them in advance. It sounds silly. You might be going, I can't take breaks. There's no way I can't do it. Okay. Think about it now. Think about it in advance. And by break, I don't mean, a weekend vacation. I mean 5 minutes to yourself. I mean a 30-minute television show that you like watching. Sitting in your car for 10 minutes and listening to a podcast. Like, I'm talking very small little self-care strategies throughout the day as much as you can incorporate them to, number one, bring down your baseline level of activation. But number two, if we know we're already going into a tough time, a time of really high stress, make sure there's a plan for it because you will not do it if you just try to, if you plan to on the fly, when I need a break, I'll take one. The break is not going to happen. Okay, so some strategies for neurodivergent folks who might be having some of their own difficulties to manage at this time of year when there's so much social expectation, so much sensory stuff. Again, I think my theme for today is plan ahead. Think about socially appropriate escape plans or socially appropriate ways to get yourself a little break or a time away from the chaos or the people or the lights. if you are at the family holiday gathering and you're ready to go, you can't just leave without saying goodbye. There's what are the socially appropriate ways that you can get out of there as soon as possible, but without causing confusion or making sure that you're saying goodbye. So, if we're thinking about getting a break, uh, using the bathroom, it's a great way to take a break. No one's going to question you if you get up and use the restroom. No one's going to wonder where you went or what happened. Um, you need to go refill your water or get another snack. Get a little bit of a break from the environment that you're in. Just step aside and refill your plate, refill your drink. Again, like a code word with a family member who can help you navigate getting out of the situation easily and without much disruption or causing confusion. And maybe you have some scripts that you kind of practice in advance. Again, holidays are full of awkward interactions, weird family dynamics. So have some scripts that you will know how to respond when it comes to whatever you expect might come up. I have just a couple of examples here on the slide, like examples, a script for setting boundaries and expectations, a little script for small talk, a little script for personal or controversial topics. How am I gonna deal with talking politics if it comes up? Um, so again, the whole purpose is just planning in advance. Can feel better going into a social setting if we know how we're going to respond when something uncomfortable comes up. And then rehearse those responses, practice them. If someone says, in this example on the slide, I just won first prize in a pie making competition. What's the best response? What are some options that I could say? And which ones are best? Which ones should I use? If possible, when you're going out to these places, or if your own home is going to be hosting some folks, if you're going out in public, if you're at a store, see if you can figure out what would be a quiet, alone space. Again, the bathroom is a really great place. No one questions it if you're in the bathroom. It's a normal place to be. But think in advance, what am I going to do if I do get overwhelmed? What am I going to do if I do need a break from everything? If you're going to a friend or family member's house, maybe you can ask if there's a bedroom that you can take a little break in, but think about it in advance. Where's a quiet place? Where can I go to regulate and recompose myself and be ready to continue if I have to continue being in this environment? And prepare for increased masking at this time around these people who maybe you don't see all the time, or in these social situations that are difficult for you. You might expect that you're going to do a lot more masking at these kind of events, and then allow for recovery from the burnout that comes with that. Self-care, preferred activities, self-compassion, guilt, know your limits, know where you have to say yes and where you can let go. But be prepared for more masking and therefore the burnout that often comes with it. So if you can, plan in advance. How can you incorporate self-care? What are some preferred activities that you can make sure you're getting in, maybe the day after Christmas? I'm going to spend the whole day after Christmas playing a favorite video game. That's what's going to work for me. That's going to help me with recovery. What are you going to do to recover and how are you going to fit it in? Schedule it if you can. I really like a sensory toolkit to help with anxiety while it's present in the moment, to help with burnout recovery. So a sensory toolkit is a kit, a little box of some sort, or maybe it's just one or two items that you have accessible to you either at home, or maybe it's something that at your office, or maybe it's something that you can carry with you, something in your purse or something that fits in your pocket. But we're looking for strong sensory experiences. So something with a really strong smell, essential oils, coffee, a really strong candle, something with a really strong smell. And of course, if it's an aversive smell, that's not a good idea. But if it's just anything with a strong scent, you smell it, it helps your brain come back to the present moment. It helps your brain and body become aware that right now there is no threat present. I'm safe. I'm okay. I can handle this. Strong tastes, something like a lemon drop, the hard candy, or a fireball hard candy. Um, anything that comes with a really strong taste in your mouth. The same thing brings your body back to, oh, this is where I am. This is a strong sensation. I am safe. I'm okay. I'm in the present. And then anything on your skin, anything that's different than what's there right now. So take something really fuzzy that rub it on your arm, or ice, a pack of ice, and put it on your forehead. We're just looking for a different experience to bring your brain to that sensory experience and into the present moment. Sensory is present, and these strong experiences bring you to the present moment. And I think this is a really great representation of self-care. When we're thinking about self-care, there are so many aspects to it. And we can do really well with taking care of ourselves, let's say in the workplace, setting boundaries, taking breaks, bringing healthy food. Maybe we do really well taking care of ourselves professionally, but when we come home, it's a different story. Maybe we do really well in one area, but emotionally, our anxiety just stays really high. So we have to think about all these different areas of our lives and how are we balancing self-care in these different ways. So I think this is a good representation of that. And just a couple more resources for you. As I mentioned, there's the ARI Planning for the Holiday guide on their website. The National Autism resources for free. Oh my goodness, I cannot get this tickle out of my throat, and I'm so sorry. Free resources for a safe and happy holiday season. Social Stories Library online, and template.net has some really great templates for visuals and organizers, and the visual calendar, and daily schedule templates. So lots of great stuff there. Again, my name's Amanda Tami. Feel free to contact me by email if you have any additional questions or any specific needs that I can offer information about. Like I said, I can't provide any case-specific advice or recommendations because I am not the clinician. I don't know the case well enough to answer questions like that. But anything general, or if I can help to point you in the right direction to someone who can, I'm happy to do so. And I can provide references on request if needed. And Megan, happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much, Amanda. That was a wonderful presentation. So many good tips, and I think really feeling seen. I know I was, so I think that that was really impactful. We do have a few questions here, and just to our participants, I'll paste this in the chat again. If you have questions for Dr. Tami, go ahead and put them in the Q&A chat, and I'll read through them. So we've got 2 or 3 to start off. These going back to when you're trying to leave, if you're a parent and you have a child trying to leave, what to do if you're having a hard time telling the child it's time to leave or it's time to go. And he's like, yeah, help with that.
Yes, great question. So prepare in advance, if at all possible. And I certainly recognize that many times it's not possible. You never know what's going to come up. Don't know how things are going to go. But whenever you can, plan in advance. You may be well familiar with priming, telling the child or giving the transition warnings. We have in 20 minutes, it's going to be time to go. What can you do for 20 minutes? What are you going to do for 20 minutes? Or if they are, let's say, watching a YouTube video, when this video is over, it's going to be time to go. So giving those transition warnings for sure. And see if there is a way that you can make leaving reinforcing in some way. When we get home, there's this thing that we're going to do. There's some sort of a treat or some sort of reinforcer at home. So now I have incentive to go. Now there's a reason to go. So have some sort of a reinforcer that is waiting, that's available. You if it becomes needed, you can do something a response cost of sorts where, you know, if I have to tell you we're going to leave again, you're going to miss out on 5 minutes of this thing that we're going to do when we get home. Or if we don't leave, you're going to miss out on whatever this reinforcer is. If it comes to that, that's an option. I think it's better if we can just make the reinforcing enough that there doesn't have to be this response cost. But that is an option.
Thank you for that in-depth response. Hope that was helpful. We have one more question also about meltdowns. So when a meltdown is happening and redirection is not working for an individual, is it safe to let parents know that it's okay to leave an outing or function?
Will you read that question again?
When a meltdown is happening and redirection is not working for an individual, is it safe to let the parents know that it's okay to leave an outing or function?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Yes. If the outing or event is not working for you today, absolutely yes. Leave. Easier said than done, but you do not owe anybody an explanation. You don't owe having to stay and put your child through that and yourselves through that. Absolutely. You can leave. Leave if everybody's miserable. If the meltdown is not getting better, you absolutely can leave. Do not stick it out if it's not enjoyable for anyone and everyone.
Part of self-care, I think that.
Yes, part of self-care. Know the boundary, know the limit.
Yeah,
And when we've reached that limit, it is time to go.
thank you. So we've got time for a few more questions if anyone wants to post them in there. We do have a few questions about the quiz. The quiz will be posted online on the webinar playback page shortly after we finish up here. And then someone's also asking if you'll be able to share the self-care wheel that you showed.
Sure. Yep. Yeah, and I will actually go back to it now. But yes, I'm happy to share that.
Yeah,
I did not
perfect.
create it, by the way. I can't take credit for it. It was from the Center for Family Services. It's a
Yeah.
wonderful representation.
Yeah, that's a fantastic tool. So yeah, happy to have you share that with us. And I think Dr. Tami will provide a handout with some summaries of what she's discussed here today, and that will also be available on the webinar playback page later today or tomorrow. And we have a fun question here that's just popped in. What is your favorite Christmas carol?
My favorite Christmas carol is Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. And it
That's
takes
cute.
me back to Christmas on Sesame Street.
Yeah, I think I've watched them up at Christmas Carol twice
Yeah.
already. So
Oh, that's a fun question.
yeah, I love that. Thank you, Jay. And then we've
I,
got another question. Go ahead.
I thought of one more idea for if the kid doesn't want to leave the function or the gathering. What do you do about that when they refuse or there's kind of a risk of a meltdown about leaving? If possible, this wouldn't be the case for everything, but if possible, have a little bit of an idea of a loose itinerary of how things are going to go. You know, if it's a traditional Christmas, the Christmas dinner that you have with your family every year, we hang around and do gifts, and then we eat, and then we have dessert, and then we just hang out for a while, and then we leave. If you have just a very, oh, geez, just bumped my water bottle. If you have a very basic idea of how things are going to go, you can let your kiddo know in advance. Okay, after as soon as we finish dessert, that's when it's going to be time for us to leave. Or at this point in the event, after this part of the schedule, this is when it's going to be time to go.
Yeah, that's very helpful. Yeah, thank you for including that. We just had two more questions pop up, um, both having to do with family and other people. So the first one is, how do you deal with family members who just don't understand and think that your child is just being bad?
Mhm.
Which is a hard one.
Yes. And a hard aspect of life. You know, that means that's a person who for whom you don't have from whom you don't have their support or you can't rely on them for support. So the holidays is not the time of year to try to make them understand. And it's not the time of year to try to change their mind or to demonstrate how hard your life and your kiddo's life is because of the challenges that come with autism and the support needs that maybe come with autism. So you need to be grounded in yourself. So the self-care is really important. And you need to be grounded in your beliefs that you are a good parent. You are doing what you can for your child. Your child is doing their best. Um, and feel confident in that because there is no, it's not the right time to try to convince someone that this is your reality, that this is your child's reality. Um, so it sucks. It sucks to be in that position. And gosh, it must be so lonely to be in that position. Um, and right now you are in that position. So find your own grounding and your positive beliefs about yourself as the parent that your child needs. I wish that there were a better response to that. You know, how do we get a family member who's not there every day, who doesn't see it, who doesn't live it, to understand? And maybe we can do a future webinar on that topic. That
Yeah.
would be a good one, right? But Christmas, holiday, this time of year, not the time to try to do it.
Mm. Yeah, thank you for that in-depth response. I think that's really impactful. we are all doing the best that we can, and that's what we have to
Absolutely.
remember. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And
We
it's
so we have
unfortunate that many don't recognize that.
mm, yeah, thanks for the reminder. Um, we have one more question here. So how can we manage or reduce feelings of guilt when we decide to step away from family holiday gatherings for our own well-being?
Mhm. Yes.
Another difficult question there.
Yes. Yep. And sometimes the family systems make that even more complicated. It might not just be your own guilt, but the guilt put on you by the people who want you there or the people who don't understand why you're choosing not to go. Um, First, remember the why. Why am I choosing not to go to this family gathering? Why am I choosing not to go to this community event? What do I need instead? What's keeping me from going? Because that is very important. If you're listening to yourself and your own needs, that is a very important reason to say no. I'm tired. I'm saying no. Yes, you are tired. Say no. Tired is real. Fatigue is real. You get to be tired and you get to say no. Um, I I don't like these people. Yes, you don't want to spend time with these people. That is okay. You do not have to do that. Now, family and friends may absolutely not understand this. They absolutely might not, and they really might be upset with you if you don't do it. And so that's where we may have to prioritize, even though I don't want to do it. I'm going to do this, but that means I have to say no to these other things. But also, like I said, for someone who doesn't understand your child, sees them as badly behaved rather than having these support needs, trust yourself and trust that I can make these decisions for myself despite what my family members might think or how they might feel about it. This is what I need. This is what my family needs. This is what my child needs. And I'm allowed to meet our needs. Just come back to your why. Know that some folks might not be okay with the boundaries that you're setting, and the boundaries that you're setting are okay. They are your needs. Needs. I'm not talking about wants or what's convenient. I'm talking needs. And if you can reframe them in your mind as my needs, that may also help you to maintain that boundary when it gets hard, when you're getting the pressure from your parents, or when you're getting the pressure from whomever it is, your own mind. These are needs. I'm allowed to meet my needs. Yeah.
Thank you. I think that was a really lovely answer. So hard to trust ourselves
Yes.
increasingly
Remember the
every day.
why. Remember why I'm choosing not to go
Yeah.
and trust
So
yourself.
if you have one time for one more question, we did have one pop up.
Mhm.
Do you have any input or recommendations on toys to gift to toddlers on the spectrum? I think that might be really specific to the child, but do you have any general suggestions for some good gifts?
Um, well, as I'm thinking broadly about this, yes, I can't speak. I can't recommend any specific toys because it is so dependent on the kid. But as a mental health provider, as a mental health clinician, I am always thinking about the regulation tools and regulation tools. We need to teach how to use them to regulate. But like I mentioned with the grounding kit, the grounding toolbox, the strong sensory experiences, as bringing someone back into the present moment. I love giving kids lots of sensory opportunities, lots of sensory tools, and then seeing what they like, seeing what they're drawn to, what seems to help them, what helps them, what they'll spend time with. Because if we can identify those, and especially if we can identify those early, we can use those to teach. I feel big. But my body feels too fast. Something feels bad. Here are these things that I know help me. And if we can introduce them young and work on connecting them to our feelings, I love that. I love that we can give these kinds of tools to kids when they're young and then build from there and giving them lots of them to choose from. We can't know what's going to work, and this person can't know what's going to work until they try it for themselves and see what's a good fit, what they need, what works with their body and their nervous system.
Awesome. Thank you. I think that's a wonderful suggestion. Building regulation young is so important.
And I think with that kind of thing, with the sensory tools for our young kids, it's easiest to do tactile, the things that they can touch or put their hands in or different temperatures. Um, but you can think more broadly. Are there different kinds of sounds that are good? I personally love the 528 hertz sound that's supposed to be like healing for your whole body. Is it real? I don't know. But, play lots of different kinds of sounds and see if there's anything that they're drawn to. Are there smells or tastes that they seem to be drawn to? We can think much bigger than tactile, but generally I think tactile are the easiest to buy.